We're having open and honest conversations about mental health and well-being. We should talk about it with Maira and Dr. on Wave Now.
Hey everybody, happy Monday morning. I'm Maira and Dr. with Dr. Stephen Taylor from U of L Health Peace Hospital. In today's segment, we should talk about it. We're talking about getting back into the mindset of mentally preparing of getting back into work, maybe school, after being on vacation, because I know that's something a lot of people are dealing with. I was in that boat a couple of weeks ago. And you just kind of finally, it was for me personally, finally took that vacation after I think 2.5+ years, because of the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
And then took some time off, and it was like, oh my gosh, now back to reality. How do you mentally deal with that? I don't want to go back to reality of waking up early with the 5 o'clock alarm going off. How do we deal with that?
Yeah, it's fascinating. You were talking about going on vacation for the first time maybe in 2 years. Yeah. So that's a big piece just in and of itself, just actually being on vacation.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things, it may be we may be talking about this after the barn door's already been closed, but I think one of the things that we all face if we're going to take a vacation is that we're actually going to be leaving work, which maybe we haven't done for 2 years. So I think to kind of get ourselves in the middle space of even being able to think about it and to do it, then there's the process of coming back. You've been on vacation. It's been a couple of years. This has been an awesome vacation. And now it's time to come home and get back to work. And suddenly you're back in the groove again, back in the grind. So those are huge transitions. And I think sometimes when we make those transitions, we don't really give ourselves adequate time and space to mentally adjust to the changes. I think of the movie Home Alone. The movie Home Alone, when everybody's just frantically trying to get themselves packed and get going. Everybody's throwing things. There's pizza everywhere, and they forget the kid at home, right? I mean, so it's like we worked up until we go get on the plane, and then we're on the plane, and then we're there. And then there's we've just been shot out of a cannon. So I think part of it is giving ourselves some space. One of the things I like about driving trips is that it takes a long time to get somewhere sometimes. And that can serve as a transition, getting away from work, getting away from the day-to-day routine and moving into vacation mode. It takes a little time. We need that time for the transition.
And some people, you don't have to necessarily go someplace, get on a plane, go for a 10-hour car drive to disconnect.
Correct.
Right? Because sometimes a staycation is perfectly all right for our mental health.
Absolutely. The important thing about staycations is, just like vacations, is to create yourself a transitional space from moving from one phase to the other. So you're not dropping your pen and pencil from work and going straight to the garden. You've got some kind of transitional space that you're going to create that helps you bridge that gap. Because emotionally, our emotions have to catch up with what our bodies are doing. And we need something that helps us make that transition.
Can I tell you what my new favorite word is?
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Okay.
I really like that word because I feel like, we have to own our time. Our time is, to me personally, you have to set work boundaries, life boundaries, and kind of know where that cutoff is. Otherwise, it all runs together, and it's hard to kind of disconnect from one thing to the other.
I think you're exactly right. And I think the idea of boundaries is recognizing that you're crossing one. I think one of the things, we have worked at home for 2 years. And so a staycation can sometimes not feel like a vacation because you've been there for 2 years.
True.
What's different? Oh, I didn't log my computer on this morning, so that's different from what I usually do. But otherwise, it all feels the same. And so it's hard to see the boundary. It's hard to see the boundary between work and play, work and home, because sometimes those places are intermixed. So yeah, I think it's important to be thinking about boundary and to create yourself a boundary so that work exists in some physical sphere and everything else is outside of it, you know, that there's a kind of a boundary there.
Yeah, sometimes I struggle with, you know, the concept of what I do, does it define me? Do I carry it with me wherever I go? You know, if I'm on my phone checking emails while I'm sitting at the beach or at the restaurant or something like that, am I truly, and we've talked about this, are you in the moment? You know?
Exactly. Have you really disengaged, or have you just taken your job to a new location?
True, yeah, that's a perfect way of putting it, right?
Yeah. And I think that's sometimes what we do.
Yeah.
Now, I will say as a physician, it's easy to fall into that pattern. Patients need refills.
Sure.
I just log into my computer and do it. You know, it's like no big deal. But, you know, it kind of comes with me, you know. And so to really disengage, it does take a concerted, focused effort to make that happen. But
that's where you figure out where your boundary is.
Right.
Okay, I can designate 20 minutes in the morning to
do this.
After my 20 minutes, it's a wrap.
I'm going to the beach.
I'm going to the beach.
Right.
How much of a disconnection from the day-to-day grind is it healthy for us to have for our mental well-being? How much do we need that?
Yeah, I mean, we totally do need it. And to have a break, you know, during the day, even just during a regular work day, having a 15-minute break where you can just relax, meditate, read a book, do something.
Close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Yeah.
If you're a power napper, take a power nap. You know, something like that. Yeah, that's crucial to be able to do that and to disengage, even just for a few minutes. And to be able to take that with you on a vacation, I think is even more crucial.
So what happens when you get down to that last day of vacation, Dr. Taylor, and you're just like, oh God, I'm going back. I'm going back. And the alarm and and all of the stress, all of that all the things that you unloaded on that day or two trip, however long it is, and then it piles back on.
It's all coming back on you.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you do about that?
we do feel that anxiety sometimes of having to get back to work. I think it is good to have, if you can take a full day to transition back into work mode. Okay. So let's say your last day of real vacation was on a Sunday and you had Monday as a transition day. So you're not going to work on Monday, but you're going to be back home and organizing things, washing stuff, putting things away.
That makes a difference.
Opening up all your mail.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of doing things to sort of keep your world organized and feel like you've got some mastery over what's going on can make that transition back into work not feel quite so pressing. You don't want to come home the way Home Alone went on vacation. You know, you don't want going home to be just like leaving.
True.
You know, where you're leaving in a chaotic mode because you're going to take that chaos with you to work, and you're back to work feeling like, well, I didn't even go on vacation. So it's important to have those organizing transitional spaces, your boundaries, as you were talking about.
Is it normal though to feel that way? Like, oh my God, now it's back to reality after.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you've been on a really great trip.
Yeah, you know, if you've had a lot of time off and you're just like, oh goodness.
Yeah, it's hard to leave Disney World, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this place is magical. Now I got to go home and be where I work and do all that stuff again, and then there's all those bills to pay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very difficult transition to make.
Okay, so I need to be. It's funny that we're talking about this because yesterday when I was sitting out, I took a moment for myself and had my coffee outside, and I was thinking about my family vacation that we took, and I was telling my husband I want to just go back on the beach. That's all I just want. I just want that at this moment right now.
Right.
And you know, sometimes I feel like we you know, it's the rat race. We're running to get to the weekend. We're running to get to that vacation. We're running. You know, it's just kind of like.
Yeah. And we well, absolutely, and I think we lose the capacity to let ourselves be in the here and now, and so that puts a lot of pressure on vacation. You know, let's say you've got 1 week or 2 weeks a year that you can take off,
which is not a lot.
It's not a lot of time.
It's tough.
But it puts a lot of pressure on that time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like I have been holding my breath for 50 weeks, and now I'm going to have 2 weeks where I can just let go. That is a huge amount of pressure on those 2 weeks. So the chances of those 2 weeks really fulfilling all of your hopes and dreams and expectations are not that great, given how much pressure is on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can take moments here and there where you can decompress during the day, during the week, when you're working, then the pressure for the vacation's not as intense, because you aren't that wound up when you go.
Yeah, so finding that moment, pre-vacation, post-vacation, to kind of, you earned this time off, and it is okay to disconnect. And I always set the, on my emails, I will be out of the office. I will respond to you once I get back. If you need immediate assistance, please call, blah, 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 blah. Just kind of letting them know, hey, this is my time right now.
Yeah, you do have to claim the space, right? I don't think the people around us are going to just give it to us. So I think sometimes we do have to claim our vacation space.
That's a good point.
It's like what you said, I'm going to create the I'm away email that's going to automatically respond to whoever's emailing me to let them know that I'm out of town, because they are going to try to reach me.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, oh, you're on vacation. Well, sorry to bother you. And then it's a 15-minute phone call. So yeah, you have to put in the effort to make that happen. We're going to have feelings about that too, by the way. The fact that I have to claim my own vacation space.
It's hard.
And nobody's going to make it for me.
Yes.
Might make me resentful of the vacation because
you feel bad sometimes, right?
Right.
Telling somebody, no, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for this.
Right.
Some of us do feel like, I got to make everybody happy. I got to make sure everything is in perfect X, Y, and Z. Otherwise, it's going to impact this person and this person. And
yep. Exactly.
The wheel always keeps turning.
It never stops.
It never stops.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we can either be on it or off of it. And sometimes we have to make the choice. Are we going to step off or not? Nobody's going to pull us off of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of, and then getting back to work, I think, having some transition space to give yourself room to get back into it. Like I was saying, the day off, get your mail open, get things organized, kind of get your nest back in order.
Yeah. And mentally prepare for, what, I've had some time to myself, now I can ease into this a little bit more.
Exactly.
And look forward to the next one.
Yeah, that's kind of crucial.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with chilling out at home, getting some things. Sometimes I feel like, the best vacation is getting things done at home. You feel that sense of accomplishment.
As long as you can let yourself feel like you've pulled away from work and you're really spending time for yourself, I think that's the key.
Boundaries.
And the boundaries, absolutely. Thinking about his boundaries, for sure.
What did I not ask you, Dr. Taylor?
Well, I think just to kind of reiterate the transitional spaces, how important that is, and to be mindful of your feelings about it. We're going to have a lot of emotional experience about leaving work and going on vacation, and we need to make room for that stuff to go. And we're going to have feelings about going from being on vacation back to work, and we need space to let those emotions kind of have their own room and flourish, because we're going to have feelings about it.
Yeah.
And it's important to realize that we're going to have feelings about it and not be surprised when we start experiencing those.
Absolutely. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
I'll mentally go to the beach.
That's right. Let's go.
A little bit. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Maira and with Dr. Stephen Taylor from U of L Health Peace Hospital. Hope you have a great day.